Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel if you're returning. If you're new here, my name is Tori, and I am going to be planning for the week in my personal rings planner. This is a little bit different since I'm doing a voiceover. Normally I do these in real time. This was the week before with the Kina Prints inserts, and I'm just going to be using the other side to plan for the week of May the... I never know what range it is. It's like May the 13th through, I guess, the 19th. So, yeah, that's the insert I'll be using here. So, I don't really have a reason for not wanting to do, well, I do, but like, you ever just want to plan? You don't want to have to like plan for an audience, you just want to plan. So that's kind of what I was feeling this week, and I was watching The Mandalorian so I could get into the Book of Boba Fett. I did watch The Mandalorian when it was first coming out, and I loved it. I loved the storyline. I love Pedro Pascal and how he's always playing some kind of disgruntled babysitter. 10 out of 10 content. But I never finished it because I didn't understand the Star Wars franchise decision to kind of like take Grogu out of the storyline is what I don't know. It's been a minute since I know what happened really, but essentially my understanding is The Mandalorian for the first 2 seasons really developed the storyline between The Mandalorian and Grogu, what popular culture knows as Baby Yoda. And I loved that storyline. And then from my understanding, they dropped Grogu out of season 3 to focus on a different angle, I guess. And you have to watch the Book of Boba Fett in between season 2 and 3 to understand where season 3 goes in The Mandalorian. All of this to say, if that sounds like a lot to you, you are correct. It sounded like a lot to me too, so I stopped watching after season 2. But I want to go back in and try to finish it. So that's what I was doing here while I was planning, because I don't know. I just want to... there's a lot of shows and stuff that I want to watch that I just never have. And for me, specifically speaking, as a Star Wars fan, I'm not like a super fan. The world is really unapproachable to me because I feel like there's so much going on that I could never fully get into it, because it's not just one story, it's millions of stories. And while that is a really cool concept, it becomes really overwhelming to me at a certain point. So, I will be talking more about this, but I do want to interject and say I'm just filling out the habit tracker on the Kina Prints insert with the different things I try to track each week. And I did have some happy mail from Goulet Pens and Randy Dot Plans coming this week, as well as I think I also got thrift books. I purchased some books from thrift books this week as well. So yeah, I am logging that, and I did take a moment to kind of zoom in here, which I always try to do because I feel like, especially when I'm planning in an insert, it feels so far away compared to when I'm planning in like a bound book. I'm not sure why. I mean, they are physically smaller, but I don't know. Anyway, so I always try to track. I do work as a librarian, so I always try to track whether I shelve each day. That is the goal, to try to shelve every day in the morning before we open the library. But it doesn't always happen based on levels of overwhelm and what I'm trying to prepare for the day. So, yeah. And I try to put in hydration as something to remember to do as well as track. I'm not always the best at, I guess, hydrating at work, just because I get really into something and I forget what I'm supposed to be doing. So yeah. And I love this insert because of how much room Kina Prints always gives in the squares for this insert. She does do food logs on most of her inserts, and I don't log my food, so I always change it to a gratitude tracker if I'm able to. And then, side note about these nails, I like them, but I'm not used to long nails. Long nails kind of freak me out, and this is pretty long for me. Like, this is probably short for most people, but this is long for me, and I'm a bit of a germaphobe, and I don't like having to maintain my nails with, like, washing them obsessively, because I feel like germs get under the nail bed and trapped in between my nail and the fake nail. It's a whole thing. So these nails sadly only lasted like 2 days, because I go about my business like I normally do, even though I'm wearing fake nails. And when I'm shelving and books are getting banged up with my hands, and let's just say those nails got bent out of shape real quick. So I am trying to like calm my nails down, and I haven't gotten all the glue off of them from those, but yeah. So I'm watching The Mandalorian, and it's still good, it's still great. But now that I'm into the Book of Boba Fett, I'm just kind of like, this story is not for me. And I don't understand the Star Wars franchise. I guess like the Book of Boba Fett was for more hardcore Star Wars fans, because the storyline of Jango Fett and Boba Fett and the Clone Wars, I don't know if it was just like not up my alley. I don't know. I just didn't find it interesting. Maybe somebody in the comments will disagree and tell me why they found it interesting. Maybe I'm talking to a very specific, like, cross-section of people interested in planning and Star Wars, but I guess at the time, I don't know if, like, the Clone Wars was, like, a revolutionary idea in science fiction at the time, but I feel like it wasn't, because I've seen other stories about cloning and stuff like that. I don't know. It just wasn't something I was interested in, to be honest. And the Book of Boba Fett is now where he's become the daimyo of, I think, I don't know. You know, where the big guy, what's his name? Jabba the Hutt used to be. And in the original movies, Leia ends up becoming his slave for like a hot minute before I think she kind of ends up saving herself in a way, but, you know, Han Solo comes after her and blah, blah, blah. But, so, Boba Fett is now what Jabba the Hutt used to be, but he's, like, trying to change everything, and I don't know, when you have, I guess, a publicly held office that has worked so long in a specific way, it's very hard to change that. And the show is following him as he's trying to change some of the ways that the daimyo is operating. He wants to rule with respect and not fear. And because of that, he gets attacked a lot because nobody respects him yet. And it's just, I don't know. I'm not engaged in it, hence, like, I stopped watching it. I need to go back and finish it, but, like, I've taken a break because it wasn't my favorite storyline. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Anyways, back to the planning situation here. I am putting in all of my appointments for the day. I started on the lower half of the week because I usually don't work on the weekends. I work a 4-day work week most weeks, unless I am assigned to work a weekend at my library. And I'm trying to use up some more washi. I've said it in multiple videos in the past, but I finished up, I think, 9 rolls this year already. And I'm just trying to use up the washi that doesn't appeal to me personally. I was given them from a friend who was destashing everything. And so I took them with wild abandon and not thinking about, like, how I would actually use them. So now I'm trying not to waste them. I can use them. They are somewhat cute. It's not like I hate them, but they're just not my particular taste. So I am trying to use up this vertical stripe pink washi next, and I'm using my various Dollar General sticker books. Y'all know your girl loves some Dollar General. and just trying to make sure that all of my days of the week are filled out, and all the to-dos that I need to do that are not day specific are written on my to-do list here. I like that this insert gives you a to-do list and a notes section, because, that is a place I put in reminders, anything that isn't necessarily something to do, but it's something that I need to have on my radar for the week. So I do enjoy that as well. And again, like I said, I'll say it again, I like the format. I just think there's so much room for activities in these boxes. And there's like the 3 bullet points where you could put priorities, you could put your meals of the day. If you don't want to use it in the meal tracker, down below, any appointments, which is what I was doing. I was putting like my programs and any places I know I needed to be that day on the first 3 like bullet points that she has shaded in for you. And then you just have more room under that to play with if you want. You could do some micro journaling. I don't do that. Sometimes I need to when I don't. Write mini to-do lists under the days specifically, or you could probably even do like a little grocery list, whatever. So I think they're really spacious, and it is one of my all-time favorite weekly inserts. I enjoy the structure. It feels like I have more than enough room to spread out in, and no one space feels like it's not used enough. Like, I do have weekly inserts sometimes where I'm like, I'm not going to use this specific box or this specific column, and it just ends up getting used with a lot of like stickers to cover it up. And I feel like this insert, the days of the week are always going to be covered up for me or like the weekend days of the week, I guess. Saturday and Sunday are always going to be covered up for me because I don't work those days. But like, I'm talking about the to-do list, the gratitude, like every part of this insert has a use to me, with the exception of like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because I simply don't work those days. Whereas other inserts, I feel like there's more that gets lost in the insert past the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if that makes any sense. So I'm just writing in all of my children's programs, my teen programs, any appointments that patrons want to schedule with me, I put down, because I also help. Well, I don't help. I got the grant funding and established like a maker space kind of thing where we have a Cricut machine, we have a 3D printer, and because I did that, I am now the person in charge of it. So patrons will schedule appointments with me if they're not as well versed in the machinery and they want me to help them, or they'll schedule an appointment to use it and I just have to get it out for them. And that was kind of what happened on Tuesday. I had a patron who wanted to use the Cricut machine. She knows how to use it. I just hand it off to her and go about my day. And I know that she's perfectly capable in doing whatever she needs to do with it. So on the flip side, I also have patrons who, like I have a patron who wants to come in most Thursdays and wants me to do it for her because she doesn't want to, I guess, learn it. I don't know. And it is a free service, and we, if it gets to a point where like, it never has, and I don't think it ever will, but if it ever got to a point where I felt like somebody was kind of misusing the service, you would just use your own judgment on that. So now I'm zooming back out, and I'm gonna put the weekly to the side because I want to also plan my dailies. This helps me prepare for the week and kind of break down tasks into what days I think they would fit into, because I feel like it helps me going into the day just feel like I know what I need to do and everything. So I'm pulling out last week's dailies. I am like a weekly daily planner when it comes to my workspace. I do need a monthly view as well. So I kind of need all views. And honestly, I have thought about going with different planners other than the rings, but I don't know. I like that the rings, you can take stuff out and keep stuff in. Like this Saturday insert, I kept it in because I like to see all the things that I got done. Even though that Saturday had passed, it was just kind of like I kept it in because I just wanted to see, like, I got so much done on that Saturday and it killed me. Not gonna lie, killed me. I was exhausted. But it's kind of like a motivational insert at this point now. Like, look at all the things that I got done on that day. So, these inserts here, the first one for Monday is Simple and Trendy Co. And the one for Tuesday will be Haru Plans. And I'm putting down some weekday stickers from Blue Coffee Bear. And again, like I said, I write down all of the appointments that I wrote in the weekly, in the dailies, breaking it down even more specifically to what day specific things I need to be worried about. I will say that for me as a person in the workplace, Mondays are like, I try to make the most of them, but oftentimes they do become a bit of a bare minimum Monday. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm just trying to get back into the routine of things, and so I am not always the most productive on a Monday, but it does help me set my mindset up for the next day. And that means Tuesday is usually my most productive day of the week. I don't know why that is, but Monday is like where I take the time to remember that I have a job and I have to do things. And then Tuesday is like, okay, you're right, I do have a job. Let me get all this stuff done. So, and I was using some of these arrows from the Coffee Monsters Co. because sometimes, there are things that I do that take up multiple hours at a time. So I am working the circulation desk this Monday that I'm planning in for 12 to 1, 1 to 2, so 2 hours. And that arrow fit in that space. Whereas like for my Hobonichi, the arrows don't go long enough for most of the things that I do. So I just keep them in this little sticker book from Shine Sticker Studio, which she recently did a video on her Instagram, and it was like, this day in my life is called Products That Don't Sell. And she threw a bunch of these sticker books into a box, and that made me kind of sad because I love this thing. It is so portable. I slip it into the back of my rings. And I'm talking about, this little sticker book, My Treasures sticker book. It has a bunch of reusable sticker sheets in it, and I just plop down whatever stickers I want to utilize first before going into my other sticker books. And I do carry it with me every day in my rings, and I can pull from it if I feel like I need a sticker for something. Like, that is like my front line of my sticker usage. And so to see that like it's not selling, they're just kind of like, man, I hope they don't stop producing those kinds of products, because this thing is really usable for me, and I may look into getting a different one in the future. I'm sorry if you could hear that thunder. Wow. But like I said, it's really functional, really portable. 10 out of 10. I would buy it again in a heartbeat. Yeah, it's just like, that made me sad to see that it's not selling, because it's like a little passport size sticker book thing, and you can put whatever you need in it, and I like it. So, and I was using some of the checkoffs that I have left over from Shine Sticker Studio subscription kits, because I realized they fit right exactly in this little priority section of the Simple and Trendy Co. inserts. And I was like amazed that I'd never thought to do that before. I don't know why, but now that I know that, I will definitely be utilizing that more in the future. Because that's like a perfect use for those stickers. I also use them in my Hobonichi for my weekly tasks lists on the sidebar of the weekly spread. Just to like write down week specific items I want to do that are not day specific. So again, we try to think of everything that we need to do on the day, and I'm using the Pentel Energel. It's not a Clina, it's just the regular Pentel Energel. You can get them at Walmart. It is a 0.7 needle tip, and the ink is so dark and juicy, and I adore it. I feel bad sometimes because I think I favor it over other pens, and it's like, not that my pens have emotions, but sometimes I do be just treating inanimate objects like they're whole people and feeling bad that I'm favoring one over another. But that's my own spicy brain. So I love the way it shows up on the printer paper that I use. I just use basic printer paper for now because I have a stack of it, and eventually I will run out, and when I do, I'm going to change to a different paper that is fountain pen friendly, which will change my pen choices again, I believe. So, for now, though, the Energel is working just well. The Energel is working great, and I really like that it comes in the needle tip option, and it's just so dark. Like, I love how dark the ink is. And so Tuesday, I have a couple more things going on, but just putting them down from the week and trying to think of what else I can get done specifically on Tuesday based on where I need to be and pacing myself throughout the work week. And I'm basically going to be doing this for the rest of the dailies. Same kinds of practices, just contemplating here. And there's lots of pauses because I'm just trying to think of like, what would I need to be doing on this specific day? And a lot of my tasks, like most people, get migrated from day to day because I get carried away with other stuff that is not even on my to-do list. And then I look down and I haven't accomplished half of what I wanted to do that day. So I end up migrating a lot. But that's the reality of, dang the thunder. That's the reality of planning. I feel like sometimes you have good intentions, and that the intentions of being there are enough sometimes. Like, I could beat myself up a lot about how it feels like I'm just writing things down to move them over. But you know what? It stays in my line of sight throughout the week, and I do eventually get it finished. And if it wasn't in my line of sight and I'm not migrating it and annoying myself in the process, I probably wouldn't do it. So I do think, even though the migration at times feels unproductive of moving one task from Monday all the way to Thursday, specifically in my dailies, there is a point where, like, I think it was last week, the week before this one that I'm planning in, where I had to fix a chair because it's like a kiddie play area chair that I just needed to put some wood glue in, and I took like a whole week to do it because I kept forgetting wood glue at my house. And like, the more I migrated it, the more I used like capital letters, and I was like, oh my gosh, fix this freaking chair. Like, I would start writing notes to myself about like, fix a freaking chair. And at that point, it's like embarrassing to myself, let alone anybody else looking at my planner. So the migration does serve a purpose. I'm not sure that it's always necessarily a healthy purpose, but it does serve a purpose. So I don't know. I don't feel terrible about migration. I don't know that anybody really does, or that it's a topic talked about a lot within the planning community, but I know that everybody does it. Just because that's the reality of life, the insert for, what is this, Wednesday, is from Haru Plans again, and the insert for the next day next to it is from Simple and Trendy Co. as well, though I don't think I use that because I have this week's Thursday off for Bridgerton viewing. That's not why I took it off. I have a bank appointment that I needed to go to, so that's why I took the day off. But yeah, so that is the week. I am just going to play some tunes from here on out. If you spent some time with me today, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope you got some plans down for your week ahead, and I hope you stay happy, safe, and healthy. And if you've made it this far and you're not subscribed, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel and giving this video a thumbs up to help my channel grow, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.